John Clayden studied medicine at Liverpool University, qualifying in 1969, having won the Pathology and Bacteriology Medal and various other prizes and distinctions along the way. Versions of Life, Stories from Counselling is the title of his recently published book in collaboration with Eurobox. We're glad to welcome to this new episode of Conoscere TV the writer John Clayden, who's now connected with us from England. Hi, John, and thank you very much for this interview.
Hello, Ginevra. Pleased to be here.
Would you kindly tell us what is your book, Versions of Life, about, please?
Well, basically, it's stories from people who've been through counselling to help them with the problems in life that they've been dealing with. But it came about because a close colleague of mine brought stories that these people had written to me and thought that they might be usefully made into a book to help other people with similar problems. Unfortunately, my colleague died, and it was a while after that I thought perhaps it might be worthwhile trying to make it into a useful book. And so it's a book about counselling and about how that might help people with various kinds of problems.
How can this reading be helpful for readers out there? Why should everybody buy and read the book?
Right. Yeah. Well, lots of people need help through life. We all go through phases where we face bad times and things don't go well. And as a result, sometimes we just don't know where to turn for help. So the aim of the book was to show the different kinds of problems that counselling might help. And it in that way to try and to bring people towards a solution to their problems.
We also know that your book is a collection of stories, real stories in the end, stories from the patients. Is there one you didn't mention in your book that maybe you were told lately and you would like to tell us as an unpublished story, as a lesson we can learn?
I don't think we published. We tried to publish all the stories that we got from the group. I mean, quite honestly, there are lots of times when people have come with other problems that could have made a story, but in fact, I just dealt with the ones that I've been given. So. Because I thought they actually covered a very broad range of the types of problems that are very prevalent today. For example, there's one story which deals with transgender issues, and although that was actually written a few years ago, it's surprisingly in the limelight today as a thing that affects quite a number of people. So the stories are as they were given, and that's.
And what would you recommend to those readers who know they need help, but they're also afraid to ask? What's the first step to ask for help?
I think the two things. One is to approach your medical practitioner, whoever deals with your that type of problem, and hopefully they might be able to pass you on to a fully trained counsellor. But there are private counselling services available probably in most countries, I should think, in Europe. The only thing about that is making sure initially that the counsellor that you're dealing with is properly trained and properly backed up, so that you don't get into quackery, you might say, somebody who who doesn't really understand what they're doing. That's why in the book I included various criteria and things like that for counsellors, so that people who are looking for counselling might have some guidelines as to what kind of quality that they should be looking for.
Are you writing more books at the moment, or do you plan to write and publish more in the nearest future?
No, in the past, my work's been more involved in magazine articles and things like that. At the moment, I'm writing a sort of autobiography, mainly with a view to our grandchildren having some knowledge of what happened to me in my past. But I haven't really thought about writing any other sort of books at the moment.
Well, for now, thank you very much. Thank you for your time for this interview, and we want to wish you very good luck with your published book.
Well, thank you, and thank Eurobooks for taking it on. Thanks very much.
This book reminds us that asking for help is not a shame, a stigma, but rather demonstrates the will to improve. Every story is like a seesaw. The beginning is uphill and shows the various problems faced by people. In the second phase, one can then see how counseling has actually helped these people. A collection of first-person stories, a collection of lives. Versions of Life, Stories from Counselling by John Clayden is now available in bookstores and digital platforms. It's a publication by Eurobooks.